Hi everyone, my name is Patrick. Hopefully this is being heard okay. This is all new, so I'm just trying to make sure that everything is working as we go. And we may have to deal with some hiccups as we deal with this entire thing. It's just kind of how it goes sometimes. So we'll do the best that we can. Hey D-Staten, thank you so much for the resub. Look at you, a year and a month. That is crazy. Also, thank you for the awesome gift through your your Twitter feed. I'm looking forward to giving that game a try, and I will be completely honest, I still haven't even given, 2 Point Hospital that I got from last year's drawing a try, so I need to do both of those soon. Today we're going to do something a little bit different than my normal streams. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be going over learning to solder, and I have some kits. I have a few here actually. Let me see if I can find another one. I have this one, and then I have this much more complex one that I haven't even begun to break out yet. But what we're going to be doing basically is exactly what the title says. We're going to be learning to solder because it's a skill that I've wanted to pick up for a while now. And so we're going to just, start with some of these really basic little kit things. And we're going to put it together, and we're going to see if we can't make it work. And there's probably going to be some background noise because there's all kinds of sounds going on outside because I'm in my garage. So let's go ahead and take a look. So this soldering kit is from a company called Learn to Solder. And basically they sell little basic kits so you can do stuff and not worry so much about screwing up and get started right off. I am not sponsored by or otherwise affiliated with these people. I just saw their stuff and decided to pick it up. So let's go ahead and crack this open and see what's inside. Let's tear it up, who cares? Rawr. Oh, cool. The bag actually has a nice little thing. We created the kit you hold in your hand to share the love and excitement we have found in making. We hope it brings you joy on your voyage of making mistakes, solving problems, and chasing curiosity. And then if you have questions or other stuff, you can contact them on their website. Looks cool to me. Let's go ahead and take this other staple out here real quick. There we go. I'll set that aside for later dealing with. And I didn't even know this was a resealable bag, so that's actually really cool because then you have something to keep all the components in later on. And we've got a parts list, and then we've got the actual parts, which are in their own little bag, some resistors, some LEDs, and some push buttons. A battery, which we will need to power the whole thing, and then of course the circuit board, which assembles the whole thing, which is pre-printed for us. So it's got a nice little sheen to it. You can kind of see that going on. Pathologic 2 is a really interesting horror game I think you'll enjoy. Good, yeah, I was reading up on it. I'll take a look. You probably, hopefully, will be able to see this if I move it a little closer to the camera here. Let me make sure, yeah, you can kind of see what's going on. So we've got a bunch of pre-printed circuits ready to go, and we're basically just going to be dropping parts straight into this. So let's take a look and see what else we have here. Okay, so we've got some resistors, some LEDs, and some other fun things. So let's go ahead and just dump all this out onto my pad here and move this out of the way, and we'll go ahead and sort these into little bins so I don't lose track of all the pieces. We'll put the push buttons in here. We'll put my LEDs in here, and we'll put the resistors right here. Now looks like these resistors are 100 ohms, but I'm not absolutely certain on that. So we've got these resistors, and I've got my little multimeter here, which, if I am correct, you should be able to see now. So we're going to test and see how much these resistors are exactly, because I don't know. And we'll find out for certain what they are. Hey, Spy High, thank you so much. 14th, because Pat is good about reminding me. Thank you so much for resubbing. I greatly appreciate it. We're just kicking off here. We're going to actually test one of these resistors and see how much resistance it gives. Come on. Beep. Yeah, right around 200 ohms resistance. It's a very, very low. If I pump this up one, it's probably going to give me like, I think it's too much. Let's see there. Come on. Yeah, right around 200 ohms resistance. So we need that because the LEDs can only take so much power through them. And LEDs have 2 pins on them. We're going to turn this off, but we'll leave it there because we're going to be using it in just a moment. The two pins are the anode and the cathode, and I actually have the instructions here in front of me so that I could refer to them in case I need to. Because I do. I'm learning. Okay, let's scroll down a little bit here. The anode, not the switches, I want to go to the LEDs. The anode is the longer part and the cathode is the shorter part. So the positive and the negative. So this is the positive right here, and then the shorter part is the negative part. And we're just going to test this by rotating this all around because I want to see how much voltage it takes, because this is a 3-volt battery that we have here, and we are going to make sure that 200 ohms resistance. So if I put this to the positive, oh, hold on, there's got to be an easier way to do this than like accidentally frying the whole thing. Come on. Let's start off by destroying the whole project right off the bat. Okay, so if I kind of pinch this down like that, there we go, and it's not touching the upper part. It lights, but it doesn't tell me what the resistance is, so that's not really helpful. I was hoping to find out how much voltage it wasn't going to use, but we are unable to find that out, so we're just going to turn off our tool here and set it out of the way on the side. And we're going to see which part we're supposed to do first. I'm going to grab my helping hands here. Let me put my parts back in their respective little bins so I don't lose track of them. I'm going to bring my helping hands into the picture here, and I'm going to go ahead and clip the board in so that I can keep track of what I'm doing here. And that seems a pretty good spot right there. I do need elevator clamps, but thank you. Yes, I was pretty sure, like I said, between the ring light and the above lighting, I was pretty darn sure that the lighting was going to be sufficient for what we were doing today. Okay, so according to the instructions, we've got all the parts, so that's good. I'm going to go ahead and see if I can't pull this up and put it in a smaller window so that I can read chat while looking at the instructions at the same time. Doesn't really help here that I'm on my teeny little laptop that I can't see a lot of things on. Yeah, that doesn't really help me. Oh, there, okay, kind of works. All right, so the first step that they want you to do in this is to do what? Soldering iron should be, but yes, I have to turn my soldering iron on, so I'll do that now. That should heat up pretty quickly. Yes, tools, right. We know the technique, but what's the first step? Right. So we're doing the resistors first. So thank you, soldering iron, you're ready to go. We're gonna go ahead and take these resistors out of their little thing that they came in and just get those ready to go, which is great. And we're actually gonna flip this over really quick so that we can drop the resistors in. So it's very helpfully already labeled for us, R1, R2, and R3. So if I stick this in here, just kind of bend it over a little. Let's see if we can't do both of these at once, maybe. Yeah, kind of. Bend it in a little bit more. There we go. All right, so we want that all the way in there. And the nice thing about resistors is they don't have a polarity, so we don't have to worry about which direction they're put in. So that's resistor number 1, and we're just going to bend the pins out like that so that it stays put while we're using it. And I think, yeah, we'll go ahead and solder this first one since we're already pretty much ready to go there. Let me just make sure that that's okay. Yeah, that's pretty okay. Cool. I'm going to raise this up so I can see what I'm doing a little better here. Perfect. Okay, and let's switch back to the other window real quick. All right, so I've got my soldering iron. It's ready to go here, and the tip needs to be retinned, so I'm going to clean it really quick. And then we're going to retin the tip with my solder that I have right here, which just, boom, it's just going to heat up. Oh, wait, before I even begin that, I need to be safe. This is going to get a little loud because I'm going to turn on my fume absorber here because I don't want to be breathing these fumes in. So I apologize for the loud noises, and we're going to scoot this over just a little bit in this direction so that any fumes get sucked into that. So got our tip tinned. Looks good to me. All right, so now all I have to do is touch the soldering iron to the two components and then make sure that it's heated and then apply the solder to both of those. Yes, please, kind of. Okay, there we go, boom. All right, that looks pretty darn good to me. First wetted joint, and then we'll go ahead and do the second one. Okay, we apply the soldering iron, and then we apply, make sure the heat gets in there. Okay, boom, done. We got a little bit of solder on the top of that, but I'm not so worried about that part. And then we clean our soldering tip. Fence sound isn't too bad, audible but not distracting. Okay, thanks for letting me know. All right, so we've got our first couple of joints done here. We'll go ahead and turn that off so that it's not crazy loud. Get a nice close look in there just to see, like that looks pretty good to me. And we can look at the flip side too here real quick because it should have gotten a nice shiny little thing. Oh, that light auto offs. It shouldn't do that. I guess I'm gonna have to turn it back on every now and then. And we'll clean up the bit of flux that's on the board there afterwards. I have some isopropyl alcohol ready to go. So our first resistor is good. We'll go ahead and thread our second resistor really quick. Right there should be fine. Okay. And just keep it nice. We'll try and keep the orientation of the colors the same. Again, the orientation of the resistor itself doesn't really matter, but we are trying to make nice a little bit just to make it cool. Okay, let's pick this up and pull this through here like that. Get it nice and flush there and then bend it out so that it doesn't move on us. Okay, that's resistor number 2. We'll go ahead and grab that on there. And we'll get right to soldering the next part. Let's go ahead and turn our fan on. Really quick here. And then we're going to heat our component. Right on top here. Actually, that's a little hard to see, so let me just shift this really quick. There, that's better. Much easier to see there. Okay, cool. All right, right on the joint there. There we go. 1, 2, 3, and heat up and take that solder, please. Still waiting for it to heat. I might need to heat my iron up a bit more because it's not exactly... Okay. Good to good. That's a nice solid joint there. Get some more wick or some more solder. And then next joint right there. And boom. See, the interesting thing is in most of the videos that I watch, like somebody touches it and it just immediately heats up enough for the thing to melt the solder, but this is taking a little while, which makes me worry a teeny bit. Maybe my iron isn't hot enough, or I'm getting bad thermal conductivity. It's hard to say. The tip is definitely clean, so that probably isn't it. But we've got our second joint done. That looks good. That looks really clean and shiny and no cold joints going on from what I can see. So we'll move right along to the third resistor. Oh, see, this one actually got through to the other side a bit, which is good. We kind of want that through hole solder to flow all the way through the component. And that one I heated a bit more directly, so maybe if I'm more careful and I do that, it will do a better job of adhering to it. All right, let's go ahead and get that third resistor in there real quick. Okay. It was reading about 199 on the resistors, and then I remembered that the little gold band at the hand gives it like a 5% variance. So it's like it makes sense for a 200 ohm resistor that it would give a little bit of variance on the end there. All right, push that through. Get that nice and tight on there. Just right, and then bend the ends out. Another thing I have to be careful of is that when I'm streaming like this, I can't see how much battery my phone has left, so I may occasionally need to unplug my headphones from the phone and then plug power back into the phone, because I don't have Bluetooth headphones, unfortunately. And I'm using them right now to do all this. So it makes it hard to really see what I'm doing very well. Okay, there we go. That looks pretty good. All right, get our solder ready. And I think I'll try this for one of the other joints, but I do have some flux here, some rosin paste that I can use if I need to. So I'd like to try it with that, but I'm not gonna stress it at the moment. All right, let's go ahead and put my fan on. Okay. And we're gonna go ahead and heat the pad and the joint. Not quite hot enough. Come on. Hey Sterling Sir, this board is just a simple little learning to solder kit. It is basically just going to light up some LEDs when it's done. Okay, there we go. So it's very simple. It's not anything complex. This is my first time soldering. Like my first couple times soldering, I should say, because I have tried this out before the stream, but it doesn't do anything terribly complex. It just lights up some LEDs after it's all set. So that joint is good. Let's go ahead and do this one up here. Actually, I'm going to see if I can't set down the hot thing before I go doing things like that. Let's get this other clamp on here and just have it hold it in place a little better so that I get some movement resistance when I push. It's not going to throw me all off there. All right, that's better. Okie dokie. I can see what I'm doing. Hooray. So we're touching to the pad, and we're bringing in the solder, and we're waiting for the pad to heat up enough. And as soon as it's heated up enough, we introduce the solder. We're still waiting for the wetting action to go. Okay, that's good. Yeah, maybe if I pre-tin the tip a little better, that won't help. So let's go ahead and do that a little bit here. It's so cool how it does that. Like all the fumes just boom, straight into the phone. Just straight in there. Ooh, yeah, the backside definitely looks like it needs some love here. Got a huge ball of solder on there now, and that's not really... that thermal conductivity, please. Okay, turn that off. Okay, so we're done with the first step, which is getting the resistors on. And those all look like they're on there pretty darn solidly. And the joints all look pretty darn clean. Some of them, it went through the hole, some of them it didn't. So it remains to be seen how well that will be. I can always go back and redo it. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to go ahead and clip the extra leads. I've got my snippers here. We're just going to go in and snip each of these right off. Of course, it would help if my snippers weren't dull and old like they are. Now, that lovely sound coming from above me is the fan on my Raspberry Pi. It's an old fan, I need to replace it. Okay, so this... Okay, so our resistors are all in place and we're good to go there. Hold on just a sec, I'm going to apply some percussive maintenance. Oh dear. Yeah, it's not going to work. Hold on. I'll have to worry about that later. That's how it goes sometimes when we've got devices in the way. Okay, so first step is done. We've got all our resistors in, and they look pretty happy on our board here. No problem there. So next step, according to the instructions, is what? Yeah, that high-pitched whine is something else. All right. Hold on just a sec. I'm going to see if I can't take care of that noise. Excuse me for just a moment. Okay, sorry for that interruption. I know that took a minute there. Just a lot of noise in the background. Can't hear myself think. Okay, so we're done with the resistors. And we've clipped the resistors. And the next point, they want us to put in the battery holder. Okay, so the battery holder is supposed to go in with the tabs oriented towards the bottom of the board here, or to the top of the board. And these little holes like this. Like that. Looks about right. This one I might have to hold in place while I'm doing it, so let's see here. I have the holder, flip the board over and solder the connections. Since the leads are short, there's no need to cut them. Okay. Orientation should be such that it's like this with the thing like that. Okay, cool. So we're just gonna have to kind of prop that in place so it doesn't fall out. Let's see if I can bend them a little bit maybe. Not really. So we'll just rest that on there and kind of use it to hold it in place while we solder it in. Okay. All right, we're gonna go ahead and turn on our fan. And we will get ready to solder this part. We're going to do 4 leads here. And we're going to pre-tin a little bit. Just make it a little easier. Okay, good. Also good. solid. Last one. Okay. Those are some really good looking joints there. All right. So I think I need to tin the soldering iron tip a little bit more because the energy definitely flowed a lot better that time. Okay, so we've got our battery holder in there, nice and shiny, and we've got a bit of solder on the other side as well, but it's definitely fit in there pretty darn well. It looks pretty good to me. So first few steps are good. We've got our battery holder and we've got our resistors in. So you can see the lead from the battery goes across here to each of the resistors, and then each of the resistors goes across into the positive of the LED and then out the negative. And then we've got buttons that you can press, and then all the buttons collect back across to the negative terminal on the battery. So essentially what's going on here is in order to complete the circuit, we press the button and then electricity flows through the LEDs, essentially. I was actually doing a lot of watching online about transistors recently. It's kind of fascinating how you can do this with transistors and do all kinds of crazy things. There's a great YouTube channel, the name of which escapes me at the moment, but it really goes into depth on explaining how all of these things work. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is the switches. All right. So it says to only fit on the board, rotate a specific way. Legs on the left and the right should be bending towards each other. All right. So here's the legs, and they should basically go like that. And then it says to push the switch in, but make sure you don't smash your fingers in the process of doing this. How far in should they go? The switch should snap into place evenly on the switch using your thumb. This takes a good amount of force. Use pliers to bend them in slightly. Once it snaps, it will be in there snugly. So put them all in, then attach. Okay, cool. So let's go ahead and try and get this in here without killing my fingers in the process. Trying to be careful. Kind of see, yeah, that's lining up how the diagram describes it, so maybe if I put it down on the thing here, it'll be a little easier. Oh, that's one side. Okay, good. Let's try and get the other side. Okay, cool. That's all the way in. A little bent, but good enough for the work that I'm doing. All right, we just got to do the other two. And yeah, that's a good thing I did keep my fingers out of the way there, because these things are sharp, and I would not want them going into my thumbs or fingers in any way, shape, or form. Okay, there, that one went right in. Now that I kind of got a feel for it. Cool. And last one. If you have any questions about this process or anything that I might be able to answer, I'd be more than happy to do so. I'm still learning, and I find that you learn best when you try to show others, which is why I'm doing this on live stream, because I think it's kind of cool to do it this way. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to try to do that. Okay, come on. All right, 3 switches in. Now we got to solder all 4 of these through-hole components. This one's a little loose on this side, but you know what, I'll live with it. I lied, it's going to bother me forever. Let me grab my tweezers here, and I'm going to bend those legs out a little bit so that it holds it nicely in place. Got this lovely set of tweezers that I can use for this exact job. So we're going to just pull this through here and bend it a little bit if we can. Let's see. I want to push it through and then bend it into place. Kinda, yeah, that's better. And bend it into place. Yeah, perfect. Now it's holding better. Okay, cool. So we've got our 3 switches pushed through. Now we have to solder all 8 joints. So let's get started on that. Bring my helping hands back in here to hold it in place. Looking pretty good on the soldering. Okay, let's go ahead and turn this on. And let's get started on the soldering. I'm going to pre-tin again. So like I said, that seemed to help last time. And we're going to just go in there and give it a little heat. And boom, right in there. Perfect. Okay, next one. That's flowing way more nicely. See, I learned something already. Preheat or pre-tin the tip so that the solder flows nicely. That's working way better. Okay, next one. Okay, that's 6 down, 2, 4, 6, yep. Okay, I'm going to clean my tip really quick here because I'm getting a lot of extra solder on it. Okay, tin it up a little. Beautiful. Okay, and 1, 2, boom. Last joint. Oh, that got a little bit of excess on there, so let's clean that off. All right. Okay, all done with that part. And we're looking pretty good here. So we've got all of our joints pretty good. This looking a little cold on some of them, so we'll see if it's a problem or not, but you can kind of see how it's balled up a teeny bit. It should be more like a conical shape, not a ball shape. So I'm going to go ahead in there, and we're going to apply a little bit of rosin and reflow it. So I've got my rosin here, and I've got some toothpicks to put it on there really quick. So we're just going to put some on this joint right here, and on this joint right here. And on that one right there, I think a little bit on right there, right there. As a note, don't touch this stuff with your hands. It's not good for you. Letting smoke go into the vent is pretty zen. Yeah, when I first got this thing, I was a little skeptical, like how strong it was. But then I tested it just with some basic wires I had lying around, and I was like, whoa, this thing really hauls on that smoke exhaustion. You know, they're not screwing around. All right, we'll put that there. All right, so for this, all I really need to do is reheat the joint. I'm not going to do anything super special. I'm just going to reflow it there really quick. And we're going to refloat that one really quick. Yeah, it's definitely looking a little better. Oh, I forgot to turn the fan on. I do that. Yeah, I'm getting a cold joint. Hold on, I'm just going to reapply solder like that. I do not want it pulling off like that though. I think I need a lot more of this rosin than I'm using, or a lot less. I really can't tell which. Let's just go all hog. Let's not be shy. Go all out with it. I can always clean it off the board later with the other stuff. We may just be stuck with it as it is. All right. Hopefully I didn't make it worse than it was. Let's take a look here. That looks okay. That side, yeah. That looks all kinds of wonky with that huge spike coming off of there. I want to clean that up again. All right. Whoop, it's dripping. Hold on. I do not have paper towels out here, so I will clean my workstation later. That's why I have this pad, so that it doesn't like drip on everything. Right? Are you happy now? You're like adhering to me, which is not what I want. And of course I have my fan off. The rosin basically, it helps with what's called the wetting action. And what the wetting action is it's the way that the solder actually chemically bonds to the metals in the whole thing. So what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna desolder this whole section right here real quick, because I just wanna Did that literally just stick to that? It did. I'm trying to use this to remove solder, but it's, there we go, sticking to my braid. Perfect. I'm gonna melt off the rosin here because it's doing some not so great things. All right, yeah, we're just gonna soak it up through the iron, please. Thank you. This is desoldering blade. It's used to remove solder. It's literally just a braided copper wire. Yeah, there goes my overhead again. Okay. As long as it's not like... You know what? I think I'm just going to leave it. We're going to clean this as it is for now. Let's go ahead and get my handy dandy IPA and my toothbrush. We're just going to clean this really quick of all of the gunk that's on it. Right. Isopropyl alcohol does wonders. And then just dissolves afterwards. 99%. Okay, so we're going to call that done. The joints aren't super great on that but I think that they will be sufficient for the whole thing. Oh, I got a little bit of cleanup on the inside. I'm going to take a quick step away, and I'm going to grab some... Oh, actually, I have this. I forgot. Let me just clean off the leftover with some Q-tips. No, that's rosin bleed through right there. Okay, so we need to IPA that off. Hold on. Where's my trash? Okay. And the great thing about IPA is that it does not affect electronics. It just goes away. Come on, don't get caught. Thank you. Okay, cool. And it will just dry out on its own pretty shortly here. Okay. So next step is the LEDs, which is the last step. And we're going to do RGB, left to right, red, green, and blue. Oh yeah, I see a lot more rosin floating around that switch that I should probably clean up first. So let's do that first. Always a learning process. Okay. I may get some no clean flux in the future. The problem is you can't really get it shipped here. It's one of those materials that various places won't ship to Hawaii, so it's kind of a pain to get some of these things here, unfortunately. That is how it goes sometimes. Okay. So next step is going to be the LEDs. So let's take a look at our instructions here real quick. Yeah, we did that. The LEDs go with the negative side on the short, fat part, and the positive side on the long part, just like that. Easy enough. And they just pop in there. Like that. And the question is, should I make this flush? It looks like it's flush. Okay, and then just bend them apart. So, got that flush, and then we're just going to take our leads and bend them in opposite directions. Let's hold this flush from the other side and bend. And now it's not going anywhere. Not really, anyway. Give it a bit more of a bend. There we go. And we'll do these one at a time, just in case I have to do any cleanup afterwards. Okay? Cool. So let's turn this on. And let's get cracking. Pre-tin. Just a teeny bit, teeny bit. Okay, and go ahead and apply that to there, and boom shaka, that's good. Now we'll do the same thing to the other side. Apply that, and boom shaka. Okay, all done. So as a note, the solder itself also has flux in it. So you don't necessarily need to add flux to the whole thing in order for it to work correctly. Okay, so that's one LED down. It's just I was seeing that the joints were a little unhappy looking and not as shiny as they should be over there. So I was worried about cold solder joints, which is why I kept trying to mess with it. But in the end, I probably could have just left it alone. It would have been okay. So that's R. Let's do our green. Again, the positive goes towards the top and the negative goes towards the bottom. So it just drops right in there. And we'll hold that in place and bend the leads out of the way. Like so. Okay, great. And I think I can actually even do this in a way that it will hold a little better. There we go. Okay, cool. All right. Let's move that away like that so it doesn't like totally screw up. Perfect. All right, next joint. One of the reasons I wanted to learn to do this is I'm very interested in repairing and fixing like old video games, especially Super Nintendo games. And I also have a Game Boy Advance that I want to do some mods to at some point, which requires some soldering skill. So my hope is that by doing this, I can kind of pick up said skills. Come on. Okay, good. Okay, good. Just gonna get that out of there. Okay. Make sure everything looks good on there. It looks like it is. Okay, RG and the blue. That one did tilt back a little bit, but whatever. Life will go on. So we'll put the blue in. And we'll bend those leads out of the way to hold it in place quite nicely, I might add. Okay. Okay, cool. And last couple of solder joints for this. I gotta clean that, that's yucky. Okay, that's better. Okay. That doesn't look like enough. Okay, there we go. All right, great. So that looks like it's good and solid on all of this. So I like the way that looks. Go ahead and clip those LED leads here in just a moment. Let me just make sure I did something wrong. So go through the square hole. Yeah, I did put the long LEDs through the square holes. Okay, great. All right, we'll go ahead and clip all those off. So yeah, Ed, if you're still watching, if Dallas wants to do some fun Arduino type stuff, I can totally start soldering it once I get this all figured out. All right, come on. That's good. It's a little closer than I'd like those two things to be, but they're not going to arc. All right, and last one. All right, all done on that. Great. So at this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this whole thing and I'm going to lay it down right here on my handy dandy little pad for everything. And we're going to clean it pretty thoroughly because I want to make sure I get all of that residue gunk off. So let me make sure I got my brush. And this is all going to be trash. I'll throw that away later. Okie dokie. And then battery's going to go in with the positive side up. So we'll do that after we clean everything and make sure that it's happy and not all dirty. Okay, great. Let's make sure it's clean. Probably being overkill with this, but you know what? I'm allowed. Yeah, let me reclip that one little piece right there. Where's my clippers? Just want to get rid of this tiny little bit of the lead that doesn't need to be there. There we go. That's a bit cleaner. Okay, cool. And then we'll clean off the top side here real quick. Coming. Okay, good. Close that up. Yeah, it's not going to harm anything here. The toothbrush is pretty low key. Okay. And don't stick, please. Thank you. And I'm just going to hold this behind the fan here for a moment so that it kind of dries out in the air back there. This will just be a few moments, and then we'll take this battery out and we'll give it a go and see how it does. Get our battery. All right then. So we'll unpack our battery here. Do not wet, recharge, or burn. Okay, guys, don't dunk these in water. Don't eat them. Don't do anything like that. Okay, it's bad juju. Just don't do it. Just don't do it. If you start eating batteries, you have other problems. That's really all I have to say. That's a whole other mess of everything going on. Okay, so we got our battery here. Our battery just slides in right like that. And if I did everything correctly, when I press the button, I should get red, green, and blue. Look at that. And we can also light up all three at once. And we've got our really basic, first time from scratch soldering kit. And everything works correctly. I think that's pretty darn cool. R, G, and B. All three. It's like a little tiny rave dance that I have going on here. Totally silly, but also tons of fun. Now all I have to do is get, something that can run this remotely or anything like that. But yeah, cool little learn to solder kit. Did it from basics, First time ever really soldering anything more complex than just two copper wires together for testing, which is what this guy is right here. I was just trying it out. World's biggest pixel. Oh, that's not right. If I simulated this fast enough, I could do scan lines, with the whole thing. That's really cool. All right. So let me see. What are we doing on time here? We're doing pretty good. That took us about an hour from start to finish to do the whole thing. So I'm going to take a quick short break. And when we're back, we'll go ahead and crack open this second kit here. As I think that we may be able to do this one in a timely manner as well. It's a little more complex. It actually has an on-off switch and then you are able to adjust the hue of a multicolor RGB LED. We need 63 of them to make a screen. 63 or 64? It's a group project. Totally. I'm going to go ahead and set my phone to charge up a little bit because when I'm using the plug-in headphones, it does not charge very well. And I will be right back in a few minutes. Stick around. Okay, we are back, and this time I don't have my headphones plugged in, so I wanted to check the audio and see if you guys can hear me okay, because if you can, great. If you can't, then I will wait a little bit, and then I'll put my headphones back in. It's probably going to be a bit echoey, because I'm not using the headphones to pick up audio. The kits are a good idea. I wonder if they get progressively more intricate. So this particular organization only makes 3 kits. They make this blink kit, and then they make this hue kit, and then they make one other kit, which I believe is, oh, I'm sorry, I apologize, I'm wrong. They make 4 kits. They also make a kit that's a little jitterbug that kind of dances around, has some sort of a motor on it, I believe. And then the last one they have is a firefly jar. So they give you a thing that goes in the lid, and then you can essentially make it dance. Or it lights up. It's like a string of LEDs inside of a jar. Those are the only 4 kits that this particular company makes. However, there are a gigantic swath of various other kits that other companies make that are more complex. And these are specifically meant to be just beginner, you know, just getting started. And they're not meant to be super complex, right? They're just meant to be something to do the really basic stuff. You do it in an hour or 2 in a classroom setting, and you're good to go. So in this particular case, I'm not, you know, aiming to do something super duper complex. I'm just trying to learn how to do the basics first. I do have, like I said, however, a more complex kit, which is this thing here, which I think will show up kind of okay. Yeah, there we go. And this is actually a die rolling kit. It has some surface mount processors, and it will actually, on the press of a button, roll 2 6-sided dice for you and show the result. So it randomizes, and I don't know how random it really is, but this is something that I will do later on. You can see all the components and stuff in here, the resistors and the actual processors that do it. And I'm actually gonna, when I pop this kit open, I may actually try and dig up what the processors are and how the transistors in there are wired, because I'd like to look at a wiring diagram. But I got these specifically so that I would have something just to, you know, cut my teeth on, so to speak, to practice on. So let's go ahead and put these over here with the rest of my detritus and things that I'm not holding on to. That's going to be my trash pile. And if you want to check them out, again, I am not affiliated with them or associated with them in any way whatsoever, but their website is learntosolderkit.com, and you can check that out on your own time. So we're going to go ahead and get started on this hue kit. So let me go ahead and get these staples bent out, and we'll get started here in just a minute. I'm hoping I can get this one done today too, because given how that first one went, I feel a little more comfortable with what I'm doing. I'm still going to take it kind of slow because I don't want to rush on anything. And I also have to pull up the instructions for it as well online so that I can view them on my laptop here. Okay, that's good. Okay, we've got our components all in a nice little ready to go bag. Day 7 giveaway is up. For those of you who don't know, D. Staten, and I believe your Twitter name is the same as your Twitch handle. Is that correct? Please verify for everybody. But if you go to D. Staten's Twitter, he's doing a giveaway currently for his birthday, week leading up to his birthday, I should say, where you can retweet his tweets and you may win a key for a Steam game. A D. Staten 1. There you go. So if you go to that handle on Twitter, and all you have to do is like and retweet, and you are good to go. And you may win something pretty cool. Okay, so this is a much, much larger LED. That thing's gigantic. We have 3 rotary dials here, pentameters. I don't know how to pronounce it correctly. We've got a 2-position on-off switch. 2-position? Yeah, so on or off, depending. We'll go ahead and throw that in there. And then we've got our same resistors. These are also, I think, 200 ohm resistors is what it looks like based off of the color bands. Although it's got 3 bands instead of 2. No, it matches. So they're also 200 ohm resistors. It checks out. We've got our battery clip holder, which I'm going to set over there. And then we've got our board, which is a bit more complex this time. We've same number of resistors, but a few extra components that were not there previously. So let me go ahead and pull up the instructions here on this one. And let's shrink this so I can actually see it side by side more easily. My poor laptop that I'm using for this is not, it's kind of old. It's a Chromebook. Can't do this very well at all. So it's kind of struggling at the moment, to be completely honest. But we're going to make it happen. We're going to make it happen. Let's go ahead and close this other window since we're done with that one. Great. Okay. And then we'll bring this up and we can rotate through while still being able to see what's going on with chat. Perfect. All right, so we've got all of our parts are accounted for. We've got all of our tools. We've got the technique down. And it wants us to start with the resistors again. So let's start with the resistors. And we already know kind of what we're doing in that regard. So we'll go ahead and take these protective holders off the resistors. They come in strips like this, like just tons and tons of resistors. And they basically cut off the line. They just give you your 3 resistors. All right, cool. I'm not going to worry so much about orientation with this one. We're just going to get some resistors in here and get started. Okay. And while you're at it, if you went and followed and liked D Staten, feel free to give my own Twitter a follow as well. I post updates on what's going on with my channel on Twitch over there, as well as other musings and random thoughts and things. And I will also post this video after I edit it a bit, because I'm going to cut out some of the pauses and blanks and other things up on YouTube. So if you're missing this, you will be able to catch it on YouTube later if you are watching it on YouTube. I hope you're enjoying it. And I would appreciate it if you would give me either a like or a subscribe for my content. I really, really hate pimping myself like that, but it's the nature of the beast. You gotta ask if you want to receive. And so I'm just asking. I also put all my old playthroughs on YouTube of games that I have previously completed. So all that content ends up on there for everybody to see after the fact. I'm gonna try and get this to push down a little more. It's kind of off-centered. Good enough, as they say. Before I bend this around too much, there we go. All right, all set there. And then last resistor on the side here. So this one, the power goes into the LED, and then let me see, where does the via go back? I'm trying to see. Yeah, I don't see where it goes back. Oh, there it is. Okay, yeah, all 3 of these vias go back to the power switch through there. So basically the pentometer decides how much power goes through each one of the red, green, and blue sections to determine what the color of the LED ends up being, essentially. Which I think is pretty darn spiffy. Let's go ahead and bend this. So we get a nice, good to go on there. I apologize again for the change in audio. My phone has to charge up so that it doesn't die in the middle of the stream, because it's the only thing I have for a camera at the moment down here in the garage. So just kind of have to make do. But I'm very happy with how the video quality is on it. I'm able to see everything, and I hope everybody else is too. Okay, so we're all set with that. Let's go ahead and bring our helping hands over. And let's clip it in. And let's get to soldering. All right, let me see here real quick. Yeah, that's better. Okay, perfect. Let me get enough solder so that I can actually feed it onto the thing there. Okay. I'm doing this. There we go. All right. Need to pre-tin. On there. So that's nice and good. And let's get some heat on that. And boom. Not quite what I'm going for here. Come on. Yeah. I think I need to clean the tip and read it. Audio is fine except when you drift away from the mic. Got it. It's probably when I'm turning my head to look at the screen. Thank you for letting me know. Okay, that's much better. Oh, there goes my overhead again. That good old auto off feature. Let me just set my iron down and turn it on. So we get our light back. All right, there we go. Also, Pointus Pirate, thank you so much for joining in for the conversation this afternoon. I hope that you're having a great day wherever you are in the world. Okay, 2 more joints. That one's a little big there. Let's get to the top side there. There we go. Okay. And last but not least, right over here. Okay, all set on there. Okay, so we're good on that. Our resistors are done, and we can go ahead and clip all the leads off. Which I'm going to do here real quick. It's a rainy Sunday afternoon in Sydney. Wonderful. I have not yet been to that part of the world specifically, but I'm glad to hear that you guys are getting some rain. Yeah, we can see how much it flowed through that time. Okay, kind of getting a better hold on how much I need to feed in versus how much I can just leave it alone. All right, come on. All right. If I didn't say already, I'm actually here in Hawaii, so I'm a lot closer to you than the rest of the United States. In fact, I'm closer to you than all of the United States, I'm pretty sure. All right, let's just get under there. Boom. Okay. Okay. We're actually getting a little bit of rain ourselves at the moment. I can smell it outside, and I just saw the raindrops starting outside my garage. I have the garage door partially open for better airflow at the moment. All right, and let's just get that right under there. Perfect. Okay, so you can kind of see, let me see if we can, how visible this is. If I bring it up closer here. So you can kind of see on this particular joint, there's a bit more of a ball of solder that I would like. Same on this joint. The rest of them are more conical tips. So I think I held the solder too long on these two. I don't need to use as much solder when I'm doing those. Guam, you're right. Technically, Guam is part of the US and is definitely closer to you than we are. Okay, so resistors are in. let's find out what our next step is really quick here on the instructions. Technically a protectorate. It is a bit of a gray zone, that's true. I actually had an upstairs neighbor who was from Guam in one of the places that I lived. Let's see here. After the resistors, they want us to do what? Done the resistors. The potentiometers. These are used to control the amount of current going in. The more color, more current, brighter, less bright. These parts should be inserted with the block knob hanging over the edge of the circuit board. Heat the leg and feed the solder. Be careful, the leads are close and can be shorted. You can either remove these using either a solder or a soldered wick. Okay, got it. So we're going to do one of these at a time. And it says essentially that we just need to feed these right in there like that. Boom. And then flip it over and solder. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to rest this down since I don't need it to hold in place. Let me just make sure that can be seen. It can. And I'm just going to solder the first joint so that it stays in place essentially. And then I'm going to put it in the helping hands and do the other joints. Let's go ahead and tin our tip. Okay, that one's good. Let's get that out of the way, please. Thank you. Turn this off, and then we're going to pick it up and put it in our helping hands so that we can more easily do the remainder of the steps. Am I clipping into the... Oh, yeah, I kind of am. Whatever. Life goes on. Okay, cool. Let's go ahead and do this. Step. Okay, yeah. Also, I want to give a shout out to Fighting Viper and Gaijin AC, two of my friends who occasionally watch this stream. They're the ones who got me this soldering iron for Christmas last year. And I am super happy that they got it for me so that I would have this opportunity to go for it. Alright, and last. Okay, those look really clean. I am impressed with how good that looks, to be completely honest. Okay. So we'll do the next two potentiometers. Potentiometers. Yeah, look at that. You can really see how clean those joints are on there, I think. That looks really pretty darn good. Okay. So that essentially just rotates and gives us how strong or how weak the signal is from that particular color. We can turn it all the way on, or we can turn it all the way off. And it's not exactly sitting flush, but it's flush enough for my needs. All right, we'll put the middle one in next. And just like before, we're going to do the first joint with it held against the... Actually, if we just lay it flat, I think it'll be better. Like that, to hold it in place, and then we'll pick it up and we'll use the helping hands to do the next part. Okay. Okay, that one didn't go so great, so let's go ahead and... There we go. Okay. I'm learning. It's just how much solder I gotta put on there in order for it to really adhere. I think the cool kids just call them pots. Okay. Duly noted. Is soldering something that you have a lot of experience doing, Pontius? Pontius Pyatt. All right. All right, we're good there. And let's get started on this next part. Looks clean to me. Okay, one more to go. Definitely going a bit faster this time. Nope, not a bit, except like you, just joining a few wires together. Got it. This is my first experience with through-hole soldering and attaching all these components together like I am. And I'm really enjoying it so far. I can see why people do this. I will be completely honest, if I were to redo my education again, I would probably go into electrical engineering. Oh, this one got a little bent on the pins. Let me see if I can... Yeah, let me just fix this really quick. Pins got a little bent in shipping. I too have EENV, yeah. Spy High and myself both attended the same institution. I believe Spy High was doing his undergrad and I was doing my master's at the time in computer science. And yeah, it is something that I wish I had done a little bit more of. Not necessarily instead of, but definitely more of. Okay, I gotta clean that junk off first. Okay, here we go. Okay, that looks good. Worked beside electronic technicians building embedded systems. I did the programming, they did the design and assembly. Okay, yeah. I want to pick up, I actually have a Raspberry Pi sitting up above me, and it's mostly just acting as a Pi hole, but I'd like to do some electronics work with it and hook up some fun stuff. A friend of mine in town also wants to wire up some fun Arduino stuff for his entire Christmas lights setup, and so he has been asking me to help him do that. I don't regret CS, but I wish I had more EE to go with it, but think computer engineering is not a good fit either, looking at curricula, too hardware focused. Yeah, hard to say. I honestly don't know much about what the computer engineering... I think just some electrical would be sufficient. Okay, that's good. Okay, that one's a little big, but it'll do. Let's take a look at how we did here on all our pots. Yeah, you can see on that last joint, I did get it a little big on the middle of the right-hand side there. Actually, that first joint might not have enough. Sorry, I'm just trying to get a closer look here. Yeah, I'm gonna resolder a little bit on that far right joint there. So I don't think that has enough. Do push-ups, sit-ups? Okay, which ones? You didn't say which one. You have to say which one. Push-ups or sit-ups or squats. You can't just redeem it. You gotta say I'm doing push-ups, sit-ups, or squats. Push-ups. Okay, give me a minute and then I'll do them. Okay, that's better. 10 push-ups. I've watched Louis Rossmann for years. Fascinating, float those huge surface mounted chips around and see a flux. No kidding. Talk to you later? You leaving, sir? All right, I'm gonna do my 10 push-ups. That's why I said 10 push-ups. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Always good to get the exercise in. All right, our pots are done. I think that is good. All those joints are kind of big. on that last one, but I don't see any sort of bridging going on. So I think we're good in that respect. So all the pots are in. Let's see here real quick. Oh, you got a bounce for family dinner. Okay, I missed that in the chat. Take care, Spy High. Thanks again. And thank you for the follow, Pontius. I greatly appreciate it. I usually do streams every Tuesday of random playthroughs with random game night with my friends. And then Saturdays in the past have been continuing playthroughs of a game I'm currently playing. Tonight's a special stream because I'm doing this soldering stream, essentially. And we may do another one next week with that second kit that I was showing earlier. So, okay. It wants me to go ahead and do the battery holder now. So let's go ahead and set that up really quick. Okay, and which direction is the battery holder? If it's oriented this way, they want me to put the feet this way. Okay, cool. I think that'll do it. All right, cool. We'll go ahead and set that down there, and we'll do one and then pick it up just like all the others. Clean? Nope, we're good. Okay, that's flowed nicely. My channel also isn't super fancy. I don't have like all the notifications popping up all over the place and that kind of thing, but maybe one day I'll get around to it. We'll show some fancy things when fancy things happen. All right. Okay, I think I oriented that correctly. Let me double check. I already kind of soldered it, so it's a little late to change it now, but yeah, that looks correct. Okay. All right, and we're gonna set it there. Turn on our fan, and let's keep going. All right, all set. Battery holder is good to go. All right, next step is that on-off switch. Let's see if this has to be in any particular orientation. Circuitry would always be on the battery would quickly drain. Orientation doesn't matter. Switch will connect from the middle pin with either the top or the bottom pin, depending on how it is positioned. Okay. Does not matter. Okay. So on is to the top and bottom is off. So let's set it to the off. It doesn't really matter because it's oriented either way. We're gonna just put that through there like that. And then we're gonna set this down here and do that first solder on the desk just to make sure it doesn't go anywhere while we're in the middle of soldering it. Because that'd be bad, okay? All right, let's see here. Whoops, there we go. All right, let's tin the tip. And let's lock it in place. It's a little hard to see. Okay, that's good. We'll go ahead and pick this up and put it in our holder and then do the other two joints. Perfect. That looks pretty darn clean to me. Okay. Looking good. Is that all the way around? Let's get in on this with the magnifying glass so we can kind of see better. Yeah, that looks solid. Could probably use a little more solder on that outside one, but it looks okay to me. Okay. And now for the piece de resistance, the LED. Okay, I need to look up what orientation this needs to go in. This is a common cathode, which means all three colors share a common ground. The longest pin marked with a red circle and dash in the picture is the common ground pin. Other three pins control the three colors. Good enough for government work. That's something that my that my astronomy professor in college would say a lot. So according to this, the longest pin, whoops, let's not drop and break things here. The longest pin goes right there. And the remainder, oh, I'm actually gonna have to bend these out a little bit. So let's just lightly bend this out just a little. Okay, let's give that a try. Almost done. Come on. Okay, there we go. So just verifying my schematic here. The longest pin is the ground. The other three pins control the colors. The longest pin must be inserted in the hole marked with a dash on the circuit board. Press the LED through. The LED will not be completely flush because of how close the leads are. You need some space. Very carefully solder the leads. They are the trickiest connections in this kit. Once the connections are complete, snip the leads. Okay, did it want me to slip the leads on anything else? I don't think so. Okay, let's go ahead and push this in a little more. Don't want it all the way, but we want to get it close. That seems pretty snug. I don't think it's going to get much closer than that. Right there. And we can actually probably go back and snip all these penta leads and other things as well. Let me check and see if it actually wants us to do that or if I'm just going to arbitrarily choose to. This light turn, heat the joint. Feed the solder, create the soldering joint. Be careful, laser. Yes, if you connect, that's fine. Okay, it doesn't specifically say, but I'm gonna say we probably should clip those later. Okay, this is nicely being held in place, so I'm just gonna make sure. Okay, can I any more snug? Don't want to break it. Okay, I think that looks good. So we'll go ahead and bend these out a little. We'll bend these that way a little, just to make it easier for me to work on this. And we'll clip this in place. And it's time to do the tiniest solder joints we've done so far. Fun times. Let's go ahead and turn the fan on. Let me actually bring this over more to the middle there so you can actually see what's going on. There we go. Okay. Okay. Tin the tip. And work that lead. Okay. Whoops. That's... Got a little bit of an interesting thing going on there, so let me just clean that up real quick. Do not... Oh, actually, I'll probably just cut that off. I don't think I need to worry about that so much. Just got some solder sticking off the end there. Yeah, I'll just cut that off. That should be fine. Okay, great. So we're done with that. We can go ahead and cut these leads right on off. Do not need them anymore. I need to get some really good flush cutters though. These are just kind of some snips that I had laying around that I'm using. I don't really have, they're not really intended for this specific purpose, but they're getting the job done. I saw some flush cutters at the place where I went to get the other stuff from. We're gonna go ahead and cut off all these Pento leads as well. Real quick. Don't need those. Come on, come off. There we go. Thank you. Okay. A little bit more here, and then we can get that battery in there and give it a shot. I'm covering the whole thing so that the leads don't pop off and go into my face. I am wearing glasses, but I'd rather them not go flying, so that's why I'm covering it with my hand whenever I make a cut there. It's actually kind of sticking to my clips, which is good enough to make sure that, you know, it doesn't go everywhere. I'm gonna have to go through and clean all this up later. All right, last one there. Should be good. Okay. And is there anything else I want to cut? Yeah, let's shorten this. Okay. And let's shorten that one too. Oh, hello. We've got people coming in. Garage door just closed. I'm going to go ahead and mute this for a moment. All right, there's less noise now, so there's no longer a car backing into me. I did mute myself for a moment there, Cantor, because a car just pulled into the garage where I'm sitting, and so I didn't want you guys to have to hear that. That's all that was going on. So we're all set. We're done here. Let's go ahead and crack the battery out. It's kind of extravagant how you get 3 batteries with the kits, but I guess this is nature. Yeah, the thing is that you would, yeah, just by including it in there, it's a little less expensive. Hi. We are assembling things. You want to see one of the cool things I made?
Maybe the closest little?
Yeah, just a little, but not all the way. I wanted some airflow going on, is why. And as soon as you press it, it's going to go back up again. So just let it.
Ha.
I'll do it later. But check this out. So lights up. You press the buttons.
Okay. All right.
That's all.
Okay.
And I just finished this one.
Are you still filming?
It's live to the internet at the moment. Yeah.
Okay.
Say hi to my wife, everyone.
Hi.
Oh yeah, we're gonna just go ahead and pull it off of here. I think that'll work. Okay, and we literally just finished this one as you were pulling in to the garage. Cantor says, hello, wife, how are you?
Hi. Good.
She says she's good. So let's turn it on.
You.
And we've got color. We've got more green. It's not very bright. We've got Low, I see. Turning it to the right is brighter. So we've got brighter, that, and then we've got brighter that for a white color, but we can then turn this down for purple. Look at that. All right. And then we can turn this down for just straight red. And then... Okay, so the default, it does have a little bit of a electricity flow going in it. Hey, Awful, how's it going? So there's our red. There's our blue, or our green, RGB. And there's our blue. And then we can combine them for purple. Or for green and red for yellow. Or green and blue for... Well, I guess that's kind of a light blue. It's sort of a turquoise-ish? Teal, maybe? Yeah, I think that's a... Are you putting... Oh, okay, so the pentas have like a little bit of energy in them regardless. What's going on? Hit the studio lights or walk into a cupboard, right? If we turn off the lights real quick. Yes? Oh, I'm down here.
Yeah,
Thank you. That's a good point. So if I turn the lights off real quick, I think we'll be able to see it a little brighter. Let's go ahead and mess that up. And there was our purple. There we go. There's our red with some green. It's really bright. And then sort of an orangish. So there's a little more of an orange going on there. That's cool. And then of course the blue. Turn that way up, and then we add the green and we get sort of a turquoise teal. Or we add the red and we get a purple. So yeah, it works. That came together pretty darn well, I would say. Let me put my lights back on here. It's going to be super bright because it just resets, I think. Oh no, it still had power, so it's retaining. So there you have it. We've finished 2 whole... Well, let me get my overhead. There we go. We finished 2 whole soldering kits in just under an hour each, more or less. First time ever doing any of this. I think the joints all look pretty clean, but I see where I can improve, like... differences between adding a lot of solder or just a little bit of solder, and how that cleans up. I'm going to clean the back of this with some... oh, I can't really rest this down because it's got the gigantic... we're just going to have to hold it in place with the helping hands. Actually, let's take the battery out before we go and do that. In fact, come on. Battery, come out, please. Thank you. Okay, there we go. We're gonna just hold this in place with this, and then we're gonna clean it really quick with some of our isopropyl so that we get some a nice clean board as a result. Good enough. We're gonna start on the Apple MacBook repairs. Actually, it's not gonna be MacBooks. First thing is gonna be replacing save batteries in Super Nintendo cartridges will be the major first project. And before we go all into this, I'm gonna clean and re-tin my soldering iron, and then I'm gonna turn it off here real quick. So let me just re-tin this for it's nice and safe. And get the underside too here real quick. Okay. So it's important that you do this whenever you're done soldering in order to keep your soldering iron from rusting, essentially. Okay, so that looks good and cleaned and tinned. So we're gonna put that in its holder and turn the soldering iron off so it's safe. I'm gonna move my rosin out of the way here, and we're gonna clean this guy really quick with some isopropyl alcohol. I need to get like a little spray bottle for this instead of this kind of awkward because it's in this huge container. Okay, there we go. Flux, yes. Got lots of flux sitting around. I tried using a bit of it earlier and it was a little awkward. I want to get a no clean flux because that flux is kind of weird to use, to be completely honest. Okay, so we're nice and clean on here. And that'll dry out pretty quick. But we've gotten rid of all of the flux that was in the rosin. Or that was, sorry, not the flux that was in the rosin, the flux that was in the solder. So that should be all good and happy now. whenever we turn it on, we can do super. Of course, it's not going to do anything because the battery isn't in it. Surprise! But yes, my main goal next is to do cartridge batteries for Super Nintendo games. I have 2 games that are ready to go. And so I have to buy the cartridge holders for them first, or the battery holders. Those are, I'm going to need to order those off of Amazon, and I haven't done that yet, so those will take a little while to get here. The only flux I've ever used we burned off with a torch, but it was for welding copper parts together. Oh yeah, that's more like a pipe welding for copper pipes and stuff like that. That's a very different application than the much teenier stuff we've got going on here. This is nowhere near that complex. All right, go ahead and close that up. And I think that's all we're going to do for today. I think that was a pretty productive learning to solder stream. We made our cool little blink kit here, you know. We got our RGB, and then we've got our cool other thing when we turn it way up and it gets nice and bright and colorful. And if we turn them on, we get a nice white light with it all combined. I will be back on Tuesday with my normal Tuesday stream, and we will likely be doing another soldering stream next weekend with the big boy kit here. So we'll see how that goes when we get to it. Please stick around. We're going to go ahead and throw a raid out to one of our other Twitch Hawaii streamers. A lot of cool people out there, one of whom is Cantor here in chat. He's really cool. Doesn't mean Doctor in Dead by Daylight. Very, very dangerous kind of fellow. So let's go ahead and see who else is streaming at the moment. There's that TV. Oops, come on. There we go. Man, when you chose, it sucks to play. That's why I don't like to play Doctor, because it's no fun for anybody. It's just not any fun. Thank you very much for hanging out for the stream. Pontius, I'm so glad that you came by, and thank you again so much for the follow. Thank you again to Ed White and D. Staten, both who renewed their Twitch Prime subscriptions. Your support is so greatly appreciated and allows me to spend money on things like this, because the money that went into a lot of this equipment came directly from your subscriptions. I am putting the money from the stream straight back into more content for the stream, especially the stand and the ring light that's illuminating all of this so that you guys could see what was going on. All came, like I said, directly from funds earned from subscriptions on the stream. So let's see who else is streaming out there. Please be patient with my somewhat crappy old laptop while we decide who we're going to raid. Let's throw a raid out to that cool black dude. That cool black dude is a... Well, better yet, let's throw it to Justin Times. Justin Times is a cool person. Raid. JSTNTYMES. Once you get over there, please give Justin your love. He's totally awesome. He does a lot of GTA 5 RP streams. He plays on the No Pixel server, I believe. And is otherwise a really cool, chill, awesome dude. Please give him your love and support. And thank you again so much for watching the stream. I really appreciate it. This will be on YouTube later. Until next time, take care, stay safe, and as always, aloha.